Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando, that's Corey, and today we are doing 1987's Lethal Weapon. And before we get into it, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, all that happy stuff. If there's movies that you want to suggest, put them down there. We have a long list. We'll try to mix them in as best we can. And share this with your friends. Please. So, Lethal Weapon 1987 stars Mel Gibson, Danny Glover, and Gary Busey. And I believe this is pre-motorcycle accident Gary Busey. This, yes. I think for sure, is pre-accident. Because he's awesome.
Yeah, he does not disappoint at all.
So, I was very happy because I think there was another movie that we did with him. And I was like...
Yeah, it was Point Break.
Point Break.
We couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it was post-accident. But yeah, this is pre-accident. He was still a really good actor.
You just got me drooling like Gary Busey over here. Slaughter's just falling out of my fucking mouth.
So this movie, it's not the original buddy cop movie, but God, at the time, it was one of the best. And
this might be the best.
It might be. It might be.
It's a tough one to beat.
I loved it growing up when I saw it, and I still love it to this day. This movie opens. Listen, I know I said when we did
Die Hard.
No, GoldenEye. When we did GoldenEye, it opened up.
I thought you were going a different track.
No, I said, oh, it's really cool. It opened up with titties, and that's how to open a movie. Hey. This opens up with the naked chick doing coke, and, unfortunately she jumps off of the balcony to her death, but that's how you start a movie. But her name is Amanda Hunsaker. And we see that it opens with that. It cuts to Murtaugh's family, who it's his birthday, and Murtaugh, played by Danny Glover.
They're a very close family.
Very close family because they barge in on him while he's taking a bath to sing him happy birthday. 2 questions. You got any locks on them doors? And who the fuck still takes a bath? Like, I know 87, that's what?
Wait a second. Those are your 2 questions? Let me add in a third then. An additional question, if you will. Why the fuck is your family busting in to you in the goddamn bathtub with cake? It's like, you got 2 daughters. One is like 19, 17 or whatever old she is. And your teenage boy's coming in. I don't know what life was like in 1987. I was still a whippersnapper. But that's called assault in today's vernacular.
Listen. If I'm walking out of the bathroom with like a robe on or a towel because I need to go get something real quick, my son freaks out. Nobody want to see daddy's dick. What the fuck is wrong with you people?
Mr. Bubbles ain't covering up Danny Glover, let me tell you.
So, we see that. And just, here's a PSA. We'll start with one PSA. Hi, guys. Don't take a bath. That's fucking gross. Quick PSA. That's it. Yeah. Let's move on. So, we see Riggs. Intro Riggs, played by Mel Gibson. He is busting a drug dealer. And this is where we start to see, like, I'm crazy. I'm the crazy cop.
How long was the guy in the trees hiding? He's in that truck with all the trees. How long was he back there?
That's a great question.
I have wondered that for years and cannot find an answer. So if you're a cocaine dealer and you stash away guys in trees, let me know. How long do you keep him in there? Is it like an hour before? Is that his whole job? Like he punched in that day and went right to the trees? How's it work?
Hey, Vinny, your job is to go behind the trees, get there at 9 a.m. We'll be there around noon. Just make sure everything's set up in case anything goes down. We need you to kill this guy. Okay?
Yes.
But
and the great, one of my favorite lines in the movie is when he says,
now that's a real badge, I'm a real cop, and this is a real fucking gun.
I went to the police academy just to be able to say that line one time in my life. Turns out things didn't go very well for me. But
It cuts to Mel Gibson watching Bugs Bunny cartoons while holding a picture of his dead wife, like their wedding photo, while putting the gun in his mouth and crying, and he wants to kill himself. And I know this is like an action movie, like violent, whatever, but there's a lot of comedy through this movie.
Tons of comedy.
Note to Goldeneye, this is how you do it.
Right.
But this is such a heavy scene for a movie like this.
Dude, I remember the first time I saw this movie, my parents would not let me watch that scene. I could see Amanda Hunsaker and Old Glory flying all day long. But I was not allowed to watch that scene because it was so heavy.
Hey, 10-year-old Corey, titties are cool, but suicide's a serious subject, and we're not going to let you watch that shit.
I don't think there's a parent in America that would disagree with that style. Because, one, titties are cool, and two, suicide's a heavy subject.
It cuts from there to the police department psychologist who is basically wants to take him out of the field because he's suicidal. She has very strong opinions about this.
She's very good at her job. Let's be clear about that.
Yes. But they're, instead of taking him out of the field, they decide to transfer him from narcotics to homicide?
It's like a shitty teacher with tenure. Just move him to a different district.
That's like a pee-pee touching preacher. Like that's what that is. Move it. Hey, we'll move him to like somewhere in like Saskatchewan. He'll be fine.
Just the reviews, it turns out, it's going to deal with every heavy subject today.
Murtaugh then finds out he's getting a new partner. Mistaken identity. He thinks Riggs is a perp who pulls a gun, and haha, no, that's your new partner.
Raj, meet your new partner.
To which you get the first time it's ever said,
I'm too old for this shit.
They pair up Murtaugh and Riggs. And let me guess, they're not going to get along at first.
Guess what?
What?
I don't want to work with you.
Murtaugh at no point teaches Riggs to dance in this movie. So it's okay.
Yeah, it's cool. Okay, so quick side note. What I did find out about this movie, and I'm assuming it's the reason that you don't get that the black guy, white guy thing in this movie like you get in every other movie, is Murtaugh was written as a white guy, and they hired Danny Glover, and I'm assuming that's why there's none of that, like, this is how we do it. Oh, that's why that's not in there, because Murtaugh was supposed to be a white dude.
Interesting. I don't see race, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, well,
So,
just a little info.
that is very interesting.
Yeah.
Look at you, fat boy. Big fat boy.
I did. Big fat boy. So they cut to Mr. Joshua, Gary Busey, who I guess they have to set up the fact that he's tough by getting a lighter, and like my enforcer can take heat to his skin. And
Yeah, we're going to call this
Awesome.
PSA number 1 for today. Hi, kids. Uncle Corey. If you are doing a major, let's just call it shipments deal with a group of people, keep your internal thoughts internal. Don't come in and go, what is this? Psychos are us? 1, that's just a bad line and shows that you don't have very good wit. 2, why are you insulting these people you are clearly terrified of? Shut the fuck up, get the deal done, move about your day. And then you don't have to smell human flesh on your lighter for the next however long you have that lighter.
Where the hell did you get him? Psychos or us?
it cuts from that to Murtaugh's old Vietnam buddy, Michael Hunsaker, who is the father of the girl at the beginning who kills herself. He's trying to reach out to him about his daughter and her involvement with drugs and prostitution and pornography. That's the triple threat right there. That's the trifecta, if you will. The autopsy showed that she was actually poisoned. And yes, she may have jumped off the balcony, but even if she didn't, she would have been dead because somebody spiked her drugs. his old Vietnam buddy, basically tells him,
You find him and you kill him. You can do that. You owe me.
By the way, Michael Hunsaker, well done acting, because as we later find out, you could have actually had that done.
Yeah.
You could have said, it's General McAllister, Mr. Joshua, fucking Ito, the torture guy. Here's all their names. These motherfuckers are doing it.
yeah,
But instead, you're like, go get them. And turns out you really didn't give a fuck. You were just trying to get rid of your
involvement.
problem through your friend.
Yeah, exactly.
Good job.
And they answer this jumper call. Riggs can once again prove that he's crazy because he gets up there to the top and handcuffs himself to the dude. And they jump from the roof. And this is how you prove you're crazy. You jump from the roof because you handcuff yourself to the other guy onto an inflatable that the cops put down so that nobody would kill themselves.
Yeah. I would have done the exact same thing. You know what's down there. You're not going to get hurt. Like, you really want to do this shit face? Because I'm out of patience. I asked you twice. You're a grown-ass man. Either walk down the stairs or jump the fuck off the roof.
Exactly.
Safely. I'm not daring anybody to do that unsafely.
Yeah, no, under supervision and a stunt crew. So after this, they argue, Murtaugh and Riggs argue, Murtaugh's, are you suicidal? Here, use my gun. To which the worst line given in the movie is Mel Gibson here, where he says,
You shouldn't tempt me, man.
This whole scene, they set it up really well. And they set it up really well that, he's walking in, get the fuck in here, slams the door, it goes back through like it doesn't actually slam, so you get a little ha-ha moment, which is how you layer the comedy in, by the way, Goldeneye.
No glib remark? No pithy comeback?
From the time he goes, take my gun,
yeah.
That is so wildly outside Murtaugh's character.
Yeah, exactly.
And, that's just, it would never happen. From don't tempt me, man, to them laughing about where they're going to put the gun, to the only way he prevents him from killing himself, being Murtaugh, is to slip his finger in between the trigger and the trigger guard. I don't know why that scene was in there. They could have started it that way and went a million different ways with it. And they chose the absolute wrong one.
The next scene is Murtaugh and Riggs going to question Amanda's pimp. And they get to the house. They see two chicks in there bagging up cocaine, as you do in 1987 LA. The pimp sees them, takes a shot at him. They shoot him in the leg. He goes down. Murtaugh gives the whole speech like, now we can question him. And this is why you shoot him in the leg. And as he's doing his fucking victory lap and patting himself on the back, dude gets up and tries to shoot him. Riggs saves his life, blows the dude away. He falls into the pool, which, I will say this, when I was a kid, when I saw this movie, after that scene, I was petrified of pools with solar covers.
Dude, totally. That guy's face and all that plastic looks so fucked up.
Yeah.
That scene was great, except for, again, you don't have to make Murtaugh bad at his job to have that same set of events transpire. Because Murtaugh shoots him in the leg, and I was like, my leg, man! And he never checks him, never searches him. He could have let the guy still hold his leg and cuff to something, and then
he tells him to get his hands, show me your hands, like 400 times.
Yeah.
But he never actually goes for his hands.
Yeah, he's very satisfied with just being like, all right, well, I tried.
After this, he's grateful that Riggs saved his life.
Another great scene.
Yeah.
It's very soft and it's understated, but just how, he says, thank you, you saved my life.
You saved my life. Thank you.
I'll bet that hurt to say.
That whole go-between right there was so well done. The acting by these two guys was really fantastic for what you would just consider Lethal Weapon. I've seen it mocked a million times.
Yeah.
The parodies, what it later became with Lethal Weapon 4 and shit like that. This is just a good action movie.
Yeah. They know that the only witness to the Amanda Hunsaker murder is a prostitute. So they decide they're going to go to Dixie's house. As they're walking up to the house explodes. Gibson finds the little switch, the mercury switch, so they know it was a professional hit.
Mercury switches, kaplooey, that's heavy shit.
On top of a narco and a murder detective, he's also an arson investigator. Why are you rooting around in that fire? They're still putting it out. You shouldn't be anywhere near that.
So apparently a child saw some dude tinkering around under her front porch or whatever. So they, with this whole scene between the kids and Murtaugh is just, it's ridiculous. And Murtaugh, they're like, I don't know, what, 8 years old?
6 years old.
He's talking to them like they're like 2 years old.
Oh, yeah.
This is Alfred. Hey, meet Alfred. This is Alfred. Alfred, hi.
Oh, like Popeye? Like Popeye? Oh, no, not like Popeye.
Like Popeye. Like Popeye. A tattoo like Popeye. Oh, not like Popeye.
First off, that kid has an issue of some sort because he said,
it was pain.
Pain?
Pained?
Pain.
I don't know.
how do you work that into a tattoo?
Because he's a detective.
He should know. He questions him before they get that far into, Mama says cops shoot black people. You are that socially aware, and you don't know what the word for fucking tattoo is?
That's a great point.
Child, please.
He was wearing 3D glasses, so.
Well, that's the only way you can see the tattoo, by the way, because that tattoo was ratty as fuck.
They realize that, or Riggs realizes that, okay, if it looks like my tattoo, that's a Special Forces tattoo. Murtaugh and Riggs go to Hunsacker's house. Is it during his daughter's funeral?
How did you not know, by the way, anybody involved with Michael Huntsacker, that he's dirty? He's the manager of a Fifth Third bank in 1987, and he owns that house on a fucking cliff?
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude. Oh yeah, you think he's laundering drug money?
So
what could possibly be his second source of income?
Murtaugh and Hunsacker are going through. Hunsacker spills the beans on everything. He was an operative with Shadow Company after the Vietnam War. They're smuggling in heroin from some contacts that they had in Asia back then, and they killed his daughter because he was trying to get out, and that's why he contacted Murtaugh. As he's explaining this and drinking eggnog, PSA number 2 then, don't drink eggnog. That shit's nasty. And he's got a ton of eggnog, like just there, because, it's around Christmas time. I've never been to anybody's house who has that much eggnog at the ready. And I don't know if you drink it warm or not, but it's just sitting there in a carton. And he just crushes it.
I never made it past the name. I don't know what you do to nog an egg, but I don't want any part of it.
So he's drinking this, and Joshua flies in on a helicopter and scopes his ass, hits him right through the eggnog. He's out. He's dead. Joshua then, after this, shoots Riggs on the street in a drive-by. Riggs happens to be wearing his bulletproof vest. What I did appreciate with this scene is in a lot of movies before then and even since then, there's a lot of these movies where like somebody's wearing their bulletproof vest and they act like nothing happened when they got shot. They're just like,
right.
Ooh, Like Mel Gibson does a really good job of I got shot. Like, this is a bulletproof vest, but that shit hurts.
Oh, son of a bitch, that hurts. All right. Oh, I'm pissed, Roger. Now I'm pissed. Oh, Christ.
So they think, Joshua and McAllister think that Riggs is dead. They use that to their advantage. And, they call the police station. Hey, you had a shooting there. And he's like, yep, he's totally dead. Who's this?
I don't think that cop is so much as pulled a prank in his life. Because after he's done, he's like, who's this? Oh, well, send somebody by. Okay. Like, it's a ruse, dude. It's not that big of a deal.
All right, man.
Yeah, he's like, we got him.
So Joshua also goes to Murtaugh's house and kidnaps his daughter. There's the phone call where they're like, hey, we'll do an exchange. We don't want your daughter. We want you. So you come, you get your daughter. We'll take you. Fair exchange, done and done. So Riggs sets up, however far away with his little sniper rifle. The way they set up Riggs in this movie, he's a former special forces guy. He even says it when he goes to dinner with Murtaugh at his house. I hit a guy 1,000 yards away in high winds. There's only like 10 guys that could do that. And he is just murking people.
Oh,
and just every shot is like center mass. He's just crushing everybody.
Until the end. And then he decides to talk.
Cottontail, stick your head up.
Just pull the trigger, bro. So,
if he's alive after that, it's like alive. Because he's being fed through a tube and he ain't moving.
Exactly. So instead he talks to himself. McAllister catches him. And they take all three of them into custody. In the bottom of their bar, in the basement of their bar, that's their hideout. Cool. That's when Ito, who is the bad guy in every movie, and I love this dude.
He's the same guy from Die Hard we said got super hungry and ate the Snickers bar or whatever the shit.
He tortures him with the whole electrocuting him. This scene for me is just great. I love this scene.
Oh.
And Murtaugh getting tortured. Danny Glover, if he could teach a class on how to act like you're getting tortured brutally. Because
it involves a lot of drool.
Go spit. Go spit.
Oh, dude, and even when they bring his daughter in, because they've shown some sick shit to this point of them being tortured and just beat. They bring the daughter in, and if you haven't seen it, you get that sinking feeling like, oh, Jesus Christ, what now?
But yeah, so Riggs breaks free. He chokes the shit out of Ito, breaks in, shoots a bunch of people.
When Riggs is done cleaning house, he busts in, breaks a neck, shoots, blah, 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 blah. He starts just growling. Like, who's fucking next?
Who's fucking next? McAllister! Who's next?
That is the most realistic shit because your adrenaline, and you've just been tortured and you're kind of feeling yourself now a little bit.
Yep.
That seems fucking dope.
Don't get it twisted. Mel Gibson is feeling himself the whole rest of this movie.
Oh.
There's a lot of that kind of stuff.
It's amazing.
Oh, absolutely. So McAllister and Joshua escape separately. Joshua escapes like you normally would. Very quickly, gets a car, gets away, as Mel Gibson tries to chase him on foot. Like that whole scene, I know everybody makes fun of Tom Cruise, like he runs in every movie. After watching Mel Gibson chase Joshua, Mel Gibson should run, not anymore, but he should have run in every single movie.
Oh, dude.
Because it's intense.
I don't think Usain Bolt could have caught him. He was fucking fast.
McAllister takes his sweet ass time. He's like, maybe I should I get a toothbrush? Do I need socks? Okay, cool.
All you need is Coke and that grenade.
Yeah. So, and then he grabs the Coke grenade, his toothbrush, and then gets into the car, which he has a driver. At this point, I'm just shooting the driver, taking the car, and I'm out.
Oh, yeah. And by the way, leave the toothbrush, because when you got Coke, that's all you need, bro.
I think Coke is called self-cleaning.
Yeah. It's like baking soda.
So he gets, Jeeves, driver, please.
Boy, bring my car.
We need to head to the airport.
We must escape.
So he gets out. Murtaugh's all fucked up.
Great acting. He's like, Riggs! And then he just starts, he's so exhausted, he just slinks down that pole.
Yep.
It's so good.
No, it was good. But here's the point. It takes forever for him to catch up to Riggs, or kind of catch up to Riggs.
Yes.
He slinks down the pole, and then he's like, I'm going to go kill McAllister. And then he drags his ass to the alleyway where the little garage is, where the car is.
Yep.
And McAllister's just now leaving.
Hey, man, transmissions in 87 are not anywhere close to what they are now.
So
You're flooding it, Jeeves. You're flooding it.
So he shoots the driver in the head. The car goes out onto Hollywood Boulevard, gets smashed by a bus, starts a little fire, and this is why cars explode. I will accept this into my life. In movies, cars get hit, cars fall off a cliff, and they just explode. That's not what cars do. This one explodes because he's got grenades all over the car, and it's on fire. Believable. I'm good with that. Riggs comes back. Joshua got away. They figure out, holy shit, he might be going to my house. Here's where I start to have a few questions.
My home, man. Son of a bitch knows where I live.
Well, I'll drive, Coaches. I'll drive.
On the other side.
They have Joshua getting there to Murtaugh's place where they have two cops out front. Do the cops not have the all points bulletin with his picture and don't let this guy near the house?
But yeah, it was just an MS-DOS picture, though. It started downloading his forehead, and then he showed up.
It was all green and monochrome.
That's right.
So he shoots the two cops. He goes into the house. Here's where the questions come. Joshua gets in the house, starts firing his gun all over the place. He sees that there's a letter or a note on the Christmas tree. Sorry, bad guys, whatever. Who left that note? Was that the kids?
No, I think Riggs and Murtaugh were already there.
If they were already there, then wouldn't they have saved the two cops that just got murked in the front yard?
No.
I'm just saying.
No.
There's so many questions. One is that one. Who left the note? Was that Riggs and Murtaugh? Because I remember, I'm like, oh yeah, Riggs and Murtaugh left that. But I'm like, They're not there yet. And they used the cops that got murked, their car, to crash through the front window.
Yeah, exactly. Plan worked perfectly.
So they just said, screw it. We're going to freaking throw these two beat cops on the sword. Hey,
you guys watch the house. You want coffee or anything? No, really, I insist. I'm going to get you.
They're the two sacrificial lambs of the movie.
Yep.
So it's either that or how did they call the family? Hey, get out of the house. And by the way, leave a note because bad guys are coming. I just didn't.
Well, I'm pretty sure when they confirmed that the older daughter got kidnapped, Rianne got kidnapped.
Yeah,
they would have moved the family. Okay, we're getting you guys the fuck out.
Yeah, I'm sure they would have. They set up. They put the brick in the cop car, through his the front bay window. They quickly get Joshua arrested. They're basically starting to cuff him.
Oh, yeah, they got him.
And then Mel Gibson gives the line.
What do you say, Jack? Would you like a shot at the title?
Now Mel Gibson's really feeling himself.
Oh, yeah.
And he just wants to kick the shit out of him. Which leads to, because after he shoots the two cops, the cop car goes over the fire extinguisher, so you got all the water. And they have this brutal fight scene in the front of in Murtaugh's front yard, in the mud, with the water everywhere. Even though this is bullshit, because this would never happen. Oh. This is literally the best fights. This fight scene is the shit.
Dude, they're grunting at each other the whole time.
Yeah, come on! Come on! Yeah, show me what you got, come on!
This is a real fight scene.
It was really good.
That. There's a lot of fight scenes, GoldenEye, since we're picking on that one, that just kind of fall short, and they're not believable. Dude, this thing was amazing. Busey and Mel Gibson both do a great job in this fight scene. And then Riggs finally chokes out Joshua.
Yep.
With his MMA arm bar leg choke. Basically, Mel Gibson does his own vagina squeezy thing from GoldenEye.
Just a real one.
So, and he chokes out Joshua. They start to arrest him, and Joshua gets the gun from one of the arresting officers, because apparently they don't know how to cuff people.
And that's why they could be sacrificed.
Great point. That's the theory for this movie, the sacrificial lamb cops. He gets the gun, he lifts it up to shoot one or both of them. And this was a great scene, and this goes back to the whole Murtaugh slinking down the pole. Like, Mel Gibson is exhausted after this fight. He gets Murtaugh's gun from in his belt. Murtaugh already has a gun. They both shoot Joshua, kill him, which is a great shot when you see how that shot's framed.
They even have the smoke coming off the gun perfectly, and they slow-mo it long enough, and then it just collapses back into reality.
Yeah, and when it hits regular motion again, it's Mel Gibson collapsing onto Murtaugh. It just that whole scene is awesome. It's shot beautifully.
Yes.
Then the next is Christmas Day. Riggs goes to his wife's grave, then goes to Murtaugh's house to give him the present of the bullet that he was going to use to kill himself. Which they use the term hollow point bullet a few times in this movie. Like, again, I was young in 1987. Mm-hmm. I didn't know from guns and bullets. They use the term hollow point bullet like it was.
Well, let's also be clear. When at the beginning, when they're doing their back and forth, Murtaugh and Riggs.
Yeah.
Riggs hands Murtaugh his gun, and he says, "Wow, that's some real heavy shit." And it's a 9mm Beretta. A cop today carries a .45 Glock.
Yeah.
Very different. Very different. A 9mm Beretta is like what your fucking young sister has in her purse, probably.
Yeah.
So
things have changed. We'll just say that.
And there is a very, I think you have to spend a bit of disbelief. And I know you're going to be like, well, you guys are fucking with Goldeneye. You don't have to suspend all reality.
Yeah.
To watch this movie, but there are the plot of Predator is about as realistic as Mel Gibson being a cop and getting to have this brawl in Murtaugh's front yard.
Exactly.
Okay, so like the whole jurisdictional, why are you here? Why didn't you call these people? And you have to remove all of that.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
But it is an absolutely fantastic movie from start to end. And regardless of what anybody says, to me, this is it's a Christmas movie.
Yes.
And two, it's basically a cop version of It's a Wonderful Life, with Mel Gibson being George Bailey wanting to commit suicide.
That's fair.
At the end, seeing a whole bunch of reasons why he shouldn't.
Yeah. Well, and I'll start by saying, this movie 100% stands the test of time.
Yep.
B, there's a lot of movies that I've seen in the 80s that don't stand the test of time for a variety of reasons. Mm-hmm. This movie, like you said, from start to finish, was just massively entertaining.
Yes.
It was just long enough. There wasn't 100 different plots in the movie. It was, there was just enough humor in it and nothing slapsticky, just some banter. So,
normal humor. And of course people drop one-liners and shit, but I mean, it's also an action movie.
Exactly. And for an action movie, because there's a lot of action movies that have come out recently that are just dog shit, because it's like, okay, how many buildings can blow up? How many cars can you flip? Like this had everything. And as far as like buddy cop movie, you said it at the beginning. I think you're right. This is the best buddy cop movie I've ever seen. So this hands down for me stands the test of time, and
100%.
I love it.
Hey, if you can think of a better buddy cop movie, let us know in the comments.
Would you like a shot at the title?
If you haven't seen it, watch it. The sequels progressively get worse.
Yes.
And they become more of a comedy.
Hey, we don't know this guy.
Yeah.
I think he might have been drinking.
Hey, they're just kidding. Hey, come back. Tell him I wasn't drinking. I just saying that.
This one and the second one are more of the serious type with some comedy mixed in. Yeah. Once you get to 3, it just becomes ridiculous.
Yeah, and 4 is just basically watch us make fun of Asian people. So
yeah. So, and let's see Joe Pesci with blonde hair. So
yeah, exactly.
Whatever. So yeah, for Corey, I'm Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews, and this was 1987's Lethal Weapon.